Our client from Bristol in England has purchased this property, £55,000. Let's show you around. So this is a BRR project, meaning buy, renovate, refinance project. The client's bought £55,000. The refurb has come just over £30,000. The GDV, so the property value once renovated, we expect to be £110,000. And the really good thing about this video is this is post renovation. So I can show you on the video the numbers, the project finish, and a lot of people reach out to us wanting to know what the finish, spec finish on a buy-to-let is on the back end. And I can pretty much show you this on this video in terms of what we go for as a property investment service. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's jump right into the numbers. So like I said, bought £55,000. The refurb, which was originally quoted at £28,000, turned out to be £30,000, and I can feed into how that's happened. Not a bad thing, very normal in property for costs to go up, but I'll kind of break into kind of how that's happened and how it's been approached. The actual, again, GDV on this is £110,000. The rental once renovated, so we're going to rent this out very soon for about £750 per calendar month. So the net monthly income of this one property loan we expect to be over £250, which for a 2-bed terrace property is wicked. So, like I said, 2-bed terrace property. So yeah, that shows the type of property it is. So the actual return on investment, just to go straight into numbers on this one, is 22%. So really happy with that figure as well. It's a very good investment, even despite the refurb costs going over. Not much over, but slightly over. And yeah, it gives a great return, meaning that the client can recycle the funds using the BRR method. So they bought it for a discount, renovating it, and now they're at the stage where they've completed the refurb and they're going to refinance it, pull most of their money back out. They've bought the project in cash. So the client originally had 100k capital to invest. They put that all into this project with the idea of refinancing very, very soon, in probably the next 4 weeks, to be honest with you. Start the process now to then refinance in that 4-week period, pull their money back out, and then they're good to go again, pretty much. And what I'll do on the back end of this video, I'll outline their situation and how they've approached us, because that's obviously the main information of the project. But this project is just a start. So this is the first project with this client. And I actually just met the client this morning just to go through the project, make sure they're happy, any niggles, any snagging, etc. And they're very happy so far, so all good. Obviously, we're going to rent this property out soon, so we can deal with all that. But the main point I'm getting to is this is the first project with this client, meaning that when we actually rent it and then refinance, which is going to happen in the next 4 weeks anyway, to get it cash flowing and refinanced, they can pretty much say, okay, we've done one project, there's a lot of trust being built in terms of what we've done for them, and they can hammer this aggressively afterwards with a lot more peace of mind, because a lot of people come up to us wanting to build a portfolio or work with us to get into property, but there's a lot of anxiety and nerves there because they're not too sure what to do. But after the first project, they're like, okay, now I can relax and let you guys deal with it, because that's what we do, because we do this every day. So yeah, enough of me. Let's crack on with the project and show you the finish, first of all. And since we're in the living room, I'll continue with the living room. So obviously this is the living room. So first thing is flooring. So we typically always go for just slightly dark, but thick carpets. And when I say thick carpets, it doesn't mean the carpet itself, I mean the underlay. So when you're getting carpets in a property, especially buy-to-lets, we always tend to have a thick underlay to make it feel bouncy, which I can tell you it does feel even with shoes on. And then you have basically a nice, good quality carpet on top. Typically, this one is kind of like, we go for grey or dark grey. This one's a lighter grey, which has a really nice bright finish on it, as you can tell by the look of it. But the actual carpet itself, we kind of go for good quality, but it's like the darker the better in a way, because brighter looks better, but darker is more practical. And if you've got a load of marks on it, they don't tend to come out so much. Like if you've got a white wall, you see every mark, whereas if you've got dark carpets, not black, but just dark, like dark grey, etc., then it can help a lot. So for context, we typically have a slightly darker grey than this, but on the flip side, you can see how great this looks, because bright colours like white walls make a house look brighter and bigger and just more inviting. So this is by no means a bad carpet. This is really nice, and I'm a big fan of it. I actually, in my own personal house, I have bright carpets, so I'm a bit biased for that. But long story short, guys, thick underlay on your carpets, and good quality carpet on top, but the colour is really important. You can see there's a lot of white. So white walls, white banisters, and obviously the stairs with the banister. We really emphasize going for bright colors because it makes the house feel more inviting, warmer, and just cleaner, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's kind of the finish we go for to keep it super simple. So what you've got is this property has had a full rewire. Part of the central heating system has been done, but not all of it. We've had obviously new flooring. We've got a new kitchen, new bathroom, new smoke alarms, etc. A couple of radiators throughout as well, and boxed in the gas meter. But I'll feed into this as we go before I bore you too much. But just in the living room alone, white colours, dark carpets, and just to keep things really, really simple. There's also, to note, a few little snags that we're going to sort out. So you can see this, we're going to put a trunking lid on top of that to cover that up, because the whole idea is to make it really presentable. So we actually completed the refurb today, but now is the snagging process. So for every renovation we do, we have 5 phases on a full refurb. First phase is material ordering. The second, third and fourth phase is obviously the project to get it going. The last phase, which it's on now, is just for snagging. So this is the stage where everything's been done, but it's up to me and my project manager to come in and basically say, okay, is there anything that's needed? Is the letting agent going to be totally happy with this? So for example, getting the trunking lids on top of here, there's a few little bits in the kitchen, a bathroom here and there, but this is very normal, and it's a case of quality control. It's a case of coming in and make sure the client doesn't have to do anything, but it's identifying little bits here and there to make sure the letting agent can come in on the back end, advertise it and make sure they're happy. So that's a bit of a ramble for you, but that should be all good. Obviously you've got sockets down here as well and light switches, that's all brand new. We have done a full rewire. So the really good thing about the rewire is the fact that the longevity of the electrics and the fuse board is secured because you've got brand new copper cables in there, brand new fuse board. You really emphasize the longevity there. You spent the 3.5K, I think about 3.4K to do electrics. It's a brand new system in, so you're really securing longevity there. So it's a really, really good thing to do. We've obviously plastered above as well, so you can see that everything looks very smooth and white. And the reason it looks very smooth is because it's all plastered throughout. So it's a really nice finish. And the lighting as well. So LED lighting throughout. So LED lighting is going to have the EPC, which is the energy efficiency of the property. So we always, always, always target a C rating for the energy efficiency. So be really, really careful with that. Not careful, but just keep it in mind. If you're doing a refurb or spending money on a property and you're going to rent it out, try to hit a C rating. So this can be done by doing electrics with LED lighting, energy efficiencies, insulation, you can do rendering, you can do all sorts of things to make sure that the energy efficiency is a C rating, because we expect in 2029 for the C rating to be an absolute requirement. And if you don't have a C rating, you're in trouble. So just be careful with that, guys. But let's keep going. So the bathroom, and you can tell it's a bathroom because it's got an echo. So if this sounds weird, bear with me. So for the spec we've gone for in the bathroom, and this echo sounds so weird, but if you look at the spec we've gone for, it's fresh, bright, and just inviting. So the whole idea of this is that you go for the spec that you need to have the rental income and market value you need on the back end. So we're renovating a property to increase the value of the property, and we want this standard to match the GDV that we need. So every area that you invest into is going to have a market cap. It's going to have a top rate you can go for. For this area, it's about 120, if not 125. But because it's a 2-bed property, this property is a 2-bed, we expect the actual market value top end to be 110. So we've gone for top end, not 10 out of 10 finish, but like 8, 9 out of 10. Really nice finish, white, really nice finish. Vinyl flooring, it's not vinyl flooring, laminate flooring. Very nice and simple finish, but also very bright and inviting. So we also put tiling on. Tiling is very good quality and lasts longer. So that's all good. And then it's just a very simple bath. The good thing about a bathtub as well is, from a tenant point of view, if you've got a standing shower, it's not as inviting if they have kids. Whereas if you have a bathtub, it's really good for kids who obviously want to bath their kids. For parents who want to bath their kids. Christ, could tell about no sleep. So yeah, that's bathtubs. They're not essential rentals, but they can have an added benefit and be more appealing. And just another reason why you can charge the rent that you need to kind of get the rental income you need as an investment point of view, but you're also supplying a really good home for a tenant. So it's kind of a total win-win, and they get a practical bathtub. But you can see everything through the house is white and very clean. So yeah, again, it's all very simple really. You've got a bathtub that's practical, nice white toilet, happy days, not much more to say. So one of the most important areas of any house is the kitchen. And what you'll find is that the kitchen is spacious. Like, I wouldn't even say it's big because it's just a practical size kitchen, but this room is just, this is the lower ground floor, and it's just a very big area, which means it's just practical. So what you can have, I'll turn the camera around in a second, is you can see kitchen area for cooking, and then you can have a dining area down here. So you've got living room upstairs, and a lot of this is kind of factoring in the exit. So the exit is obviously a nice tenant, and they can make it their home by having a living room upstairs, nice dining area downstairs, and this lovely kitchen in. And the reason that this kitchen looks so nice is when you're trying to renovate a property, when you're trying to increase the value of a property by renovating, kitchens and bathrooms and bedroom adding are the sum of the top 3 ways to add value. So kitchen spec can really add value, bathroom spec can really add value, and adding bedrooms is absolutely a value adder. Now, obviously you've seen the spec, or you will see in this video the spec of the bathroom, and you see it's really nice. Kitchen is exactly the same. Really nice finish, good countertops, really attractive, bright as well. So it's not so bright that it's like white and can get dirty easily, but it's just a practical, nice finish, and I really like it. I think it's really appealing. And what you really find is, the good thing about our team is that we blend it in with the colours. So you got the yellowish colours, and it feeds into the yellowish worktop, and the colours blend into each other. So it's not just a case of saying, oh, that's an expensive kitchen, boosh, chuck it in. It's having a bit of preparation with what makes sense for the project. And importantly, does the end finish facilitate the GDV, the market value you want on the back end, so that you can get that top figure. And the reason I keep saying this about hitting that top figure is the BRR method, so buy, renovate, refinance, is solely designed to get a discount, secure property for a discount because it needs work, then renovate to obviously force the actual value of the property up, force the appreciation, and then get a buy-to-let 75% loan to value buy-to-let mortgage at the increased value to then recycle your funds. So I believe this client, for example, for context, had 100k. They put, I think, around about 87k into all this, and we expect on the back end for the refinance to pull out X amount of money. So they're going to get 75% loan to value mortgage on 110 on the back end. So when they actually get the lending off that, they should have left in this project around about 13 grand, give or take. So this house has effectively cost them 13 grand. And if it's going to make them over 2k a month net, no, actually over 3k a year net monthly, if it's going to make them over annually 3 grand a year net income plus the appreciating asset, that's why people do buy to let and use the BR method for it. So hopefully I haven't butchered that too much, but that gives a context as to why the BR method works so well, because you're buying a house for 10 to 15k by recycling your funds using the method. On the back end, you get an appreciating asset that annually gives you over 3k a month, over 3k a year. I keep saying a month, 3k a year net income, and it can appreciate. So South Wales expects to appreciate by over 20% next 5 years. So this property, if it's worth 110, like we expect it to be valued at now, then if you got 20% on top of that, you're making free money. You're making almost 15-20k extra on top without doing anything, plus the cash flow. That's why people love it. So back to the kitchen, before I bore you with numbers too much. So again, blends in really well, good finish. We've really emphasised kitchens and bathrooms for our renovations. Now for context, this is perfect for buy-to-let. We probably wouldn't do this for a flip because we could probably go even nicer, but really important note, base the spec of your kitchens and bathrooms based upon the exit. Don't just spend money on a house for the sake of spending money on a house if it's an investment. Because as an investment, you're building a business, and if you're spending money on something, it has to have a purpose. This one is cost effective, not cheap. It's not cheap, believe me. This kitchen costs a fair bit, but it's not 10 out of 10. This isn't like a castle finish. We're talking like 8, 7, 8 out of 10. Nice, presentable, clean, solid, because longevity is super important. But yeah, just be really careful with wanting to spend money for the sake of it. But also don't cheap out, because if you buy cheap, you pay twice, and it's a given. Like, we see a lot of people like spend very little money on boilers and all this kind of stuff, and it breaks down soon after. So don't be too cheap. Don't be so consumed with being cost effective that you end up having to pay twice, because then it's completely pointless. Also, one thing, actually two things effectively to note on: doors, windows, two very expensive things in properties. On this one, we haven't had to replace them because they're already good. But just for anyone watching this who's doing renovations at the moment, be very careful when pricing up your projects in terms of windows and doors, because their internal doors are not expensive. External doors can be expensive, and windows can definitely be expensive. Because if you've got, you know, £800 per window and you've got 7 of them for a property, you're talking a lot of money, especially in South Wales. So just be really careful. Ignore the the bottom bit, we're just still tidying that up at the moment. But long story short, just for your benefit, anyone watching this, just be really careful with pricing up your windows and doors, because they can add up. Like doors, you're obviously typically only going to have like 1 or 2 doors for a household, for a property, but windows can really add up. Especially if you don't have double glazed PVC, plastic PVC, because that's what you need for EPC rating. So another thing for EPC rating, double pane PVC windows, PVC plastic glass windows, really important. So I won't bore you too much because I've already gone this point, but this is kind of the back end of the kitchen area. Again, space. Size and space in the house really can add value, because you can utilize it to add value, like add bedrooms. But in this one, there's no need, because you've got a large space that someone can use, a tenant can use on the back end to basically just make it their home and make it a dining area. You can imagine cooking over there, coming over here and eating. So again, not to bore you with details, but just think of your exits when it comes to it, guys. So one thing to note on your gardens, just make sure that when you're doing it with tenants, buy-to-lets, you can't have a falling hazard. So if you've got steps, make sure that your builder installs fences to make sure that if someone's coming out here, they can't just fall over. Just something to factor in with your costs. Just be careful. And also, welcome to the valleys in South Wales. It's beautiful. This is why people love South Wales, guys. Lovely views. So bedrooms. This is obviously bedroom number 1. Don't ask why, I've just chosen to be that for the video. So obviously this is post refurb, so you can see the new carpets down, white walls. Ignore the door because we've just finished doing the carpets. They had to remove the door to put the carpets down. So that'll be installed by here, which obviously makes the door. Again, you see how simple rooms can be post refurb. So you've got new electrics in, new sockets, new light switches, white walls. It looks and feels bright and clean. And you've got the dark carpet. It's like, this is kind of a really good shade for me for the carpets to want to do. It's a bit lighter than what we usually do, like I said earlier, but I like it. But anyway, new radiators as well. So you've got brand new radiators in here. That's the good thing about new radiators, guys. TRVs, thermostatic radiator valves, allows you to actually control the temperature coming out of the radiator. And the reason that's good is from an EPC point of view, it helps. So you've got all these things that help the EPC, and don't underestimate the need for an EPC. So you've got TRVs, you've got insulation, LED lighting, and the windows as well. So there's all these variables. There's more, but I'd say those are the 4 main variables off the top of my head that really help with your EPC. So if any of you guys have buy-to-lets out there, make sure to consider getting the EPC up to help. But that's as simple as bedrooms get, guys. People kind of overestimate how much is needed for a bedroom. As long as you've got sufficient space, you legally have to have 1 window in the room, obviously heating, you've got your sockets in here, LED lighting. We typically have this sort of lighting for bedrooms because it means that there's sufficient lighting. It's LED, so it's very, very energy efficient, and it's very bright, good colour. So it just means you light everything up. So that's very standard. So this is a very standard look for our rooms post refurb, guys. So one of the most important bits of this video, in my opinion, probably not in your watching, but in my opinion, is the boiler on this situation, because this was a problem. And the reason I say this and the reason it's really important is the fact that this caused the increase in cost on the refurb. Now, what I would say is if anyone wants to work with us, well, if anyone wants to work in property, I'll rephrase it. If anyone wants to get into property, invest in property, always expect costs to go up. don't expect fixed. If the worst fix comes around, apart from doing loans with us, always question it, because we produced a quote for this, which was reasonable for doing the plastering, electrics, yada yada yada, almost a full refit. The only thing that wasn't needed, in our opinion, was the boiler, and it wasn't. The problem is, and this is the realistic, this is the realism of property, of how it can go. Probably wrong, weird words to phrase it with, but this is how realistic it can be. Within about a short space of time into the refurb, it broke down. It stopped working, so therefore there was no heating. And this was peak winter. This was like January, February, when it's freezing, so we needed the heating on for the workers to crack on, and it stopped. Like, it just didn't work. So that was obviously a huge problem, so we had to get it fixed. It just meant a couple K extra to get it fixed. We didn't replace the boiler, just fixed it. But this is really hammering home how, if you want to work on a project and do a renovation, make sure you have a good team there, because the really good thing about what we did, in my opinion, was the fact that we resolved this issue quickly, made it not too expensive to solve. Like, we provided a solution. If there's a problem, provided a solution, rectify issues. I can guarantee you, if anyone has done or is looking to do property that's watching this, there will be costs going up. So the end values don't come in as expected. The refurbs go up, come down, take longer than expected. There's always issues and problems, so always expect it to be the case. Having said that, property is one of the best things that, well, I do it every day. It's one of the best things ever, in my opinion, because we expect things to go wrong and have a solution-based mindset with it. I don't even mean this in terms of promoting us. I just mean this in general, guys, to just benefit you guys. Like, if you're doing any property project, expect things to go wrong, and however small they are, don't expect things to be central, and have a good quality team to work with to rectify it. So, for example, in this situation, everything was going to plan, and then the boiler broke down, and it was like, crap, excuse the French, but crap, we need to get this solved because it's peak winter, it's absolutely freezing, it's like -2. So when that got resolved, ended up costing about a bit more. I think it's about £2,000 in total-ish. So obviously the buyer wasn't very happy with that, but we also explained to him this is normal. Things happen, and this won't be the last time he has issues. He wants to build an entire portfolio. So he wants to get to about 10 properties in the next 5 years, which we can help with. But there's always going to be issues coming up, which is very, very normal, and it's expected. You expect issues to arise. It's how you deal with the issues that's more important. So anyway, boiler broke down. I'll start boring you with stuff on that. It's all fixed now. It's all working now. Happy days. Windows, again, touched on windows on some as a cost, but I'm really happy with the quality of them. It's all good. Good thing in windows as well, you don't have to change a window. If you've got a plastic PVC window there and the pane is shot, just change the pane. There's cost-effective ways of fixing windows if they're not proper, if they're not clear. So if you go into a property and you've got a window there and the window pane is shot and there's cloud and moisture in the middle in between the panes, you can just change the panes. You can change the actual glass. You don't always have to change the full window. It depends on the circumstances, depends on the window, but it's a good cost-effective way of saving costs. So bedroom number 2. So long story short, there's not really much to say apart from the same bread and butter, because this is what I love about the simplicity of bedrooms. Carpets, clean walls, freshly plastered, LED lighting, got your loft access, at least I'd say 2 double sockets in a bedroom, but in this room 3. Got your door to people on as well, don't laugh at that. And nice window as well. So bedrooms are very basic, but it's getting the basics right that makes it great, because you've got the fundamentals. You've got a large enough space, good quality carpets with a thick underlay, white walls that have been plastered, and then brand new electrics is great. So that's cool. So I don't want to bore you too much with that. Let's break on to the client and how this even came about. So this is currently March 2025. Last August, a client reached out to us through social media saying they've got 100k to invest there, a pot of cash for 100k. I wanted to get into property. They could see us actively investing ourselves and helping other people do it. How do I build a portfolio? So basically, we set up a plan. We set up a plan to say you've got 100k now. How can you utilize the BRR method to keep recycling your funds? How much you're going to leave in per project? How far can that get you in the 5 years you want to build this? The really important thing is, and this is kind of an important factor, the client is around about, they're over 50 years old. So they're, let's say, over 55 years old. So the point I'm getting to is they're idea of what they want to do has to be a bit quicker, because they want to create a pension plan for themselves and help their family, but they have realistically only 5-10 years to do that in their opinion. So it's a case of we can't just gradually build, we've got to aggressively do this. So we said within 5 years, how far can we get you? So the idea is to do a project, a BRR project with them every 6 months. So we can source the property, they can purchase, renovate and refinance that property, so BRR, within that 6 month period, and every 6 months do a new project. So every 12 months you've got 2 new projects. Problem is, as with any property investment, any property project, this went over. So the actual purchase took a little bit longer, the refurb took a little bit longer, not a lot, but a little bit. So now I think we're on about month number 7 or 8. So it's just a month or 2 over. Not the end of the world, but time is of the essence. So now we're going to refinance. The valuer today has literally just been this morning. So been here, valuer's been, they're going to value the property at hopefully the 110 we expect. So that should be all good. And then, and they go from there. So obviously this project is only here as a starting point to get the ball rolling. People overestimate the value of one property. The whole point of getting into property is to know what you want out of it. And the whole point of this particular client was to say, I want to get a cash flow portfolio of X amount of properties within 5 years, which means that we need to aggressively build, but then have an end goal in mind and realize that a portfolio is the goal, not one property. And I actually had a conversation with him earlier, a really nice guy, and I said, like, when you're building a buy-to-let portfolio, you don't really notice the cash flow until you're in property 4 or 5, because then you've got over £1,000 a month coming in. It makes a difference. But if you're doing 1 single buy-to-let or 2 single buy-to-lets, you're not really going to be reaping the benefits of property. Because if you've got one problem tenant, it's completely gone. Your cash flow's gone, it's wiped out. Or if you've got a boiler breakdown on Christmas Day, it wipes out your run of profits. That's the reality of buy-to-lets. But the best way to attack a buy-to-let portfolio is to actually build a portfolio. For context, if you've got a portfolio of 10 properties and you have one bad tenant in it, you'll completely outweigh it with the rest of the portfolio. So if you've got, £3,500 a month coming in per month, net income from the whole portfolio of 10 properties, for example, or let's say £3,000 to be conservative, but you've got one problem tenant, you can say, okay, well, I'll just deal with you, sort you out, happy days, because you're diversifying your risk. Because you're investing in an asset as a buy-to-let, so therefore there's an element of risk, but it's really important to outweigh the risk with how you're approaching it. So the best way to do any buy-to-let is to build a portfolio of it, to really diversify, to really grow. And I don't mean diversify in terms of HMOs or flips or this. I mean diversify as in have a large enough portfolio so that you're diversifying your risk throughout. Because if you've got good locations, if you've got the right tenants with a good letting agent and good properties, you're doing what you can as a good quality landlord to make sure you're mitigating risk. So just to be really careful with that, guys, it's exactly what we do for our own portfolio, and it's exactly how we help people invest themselves as well. It's exactly what we've done for this client. It's exactly that bread and butter approach. So that's that. So a bit of a ramble, but just to give some context on how to really approach this. There's no point in doing 1 or 2 properties. If you're getting into property, don't be afraid of it. Property is just an investment vehicle. If you're approaching it from an investment point of view, it's just an investment vehicle to get you from point A, where you are now, to point B, the portfolio, the cash flow, the appreciating portfolio, etc. So that's the whole point of it. So just to bear in mind, guys. So obviously we've touched on the client and how they've approached us. They approached us with 100K. We've got a 5-year plan with them within 5 years to get to 10 properties. Ideally, cash flowing over, ideally about £3,000 net per month through that portfolio. So quite a healthy cash flow, which is actually more than what he actually currently earns as a nurse. So he's currently a nurse, in Bristol area. I can't give too much away because he doesn't want to disclose that, but that's absolutely fine with us. So he's a nurse, on a healthy wage in England, but he really wants to have the portfolio to grow himself, to also give his family the wealth, pretty much, as simple as that. Because if you've got a portfolio of 10 properties at least, and you've got 25k of equity per property, which for us is realistic, that's £250,000, that's 250 grand worth of equity from the portfolio. And if you invest in a location that appreciates, like South Wales, we expect an appreciation of properties of over 20% next 5 years. Then if you've got a portfolio that's worth that has equity of over £250,000 and it's expected to appreciate by over 20% next 5 years, you're making a lot of money, probably over 50 grand in that time period, well, literally 50 grand in that time period without doing anything. You make a 50 grand worth of equity, plus you're making a healthy cash flow alongside it. That's the position you want to get yourself into. It's exactly what we do ourselves, and it's exactly what we help other people do as well. So just, that's the power of property, guys. So that leads me on to, if you want to be like this client, if you've got a pot of cash there, you're looking to get into property and you want to book in a call with us to see how you can actually get into properties just like this, where you're making healthy cash flow, getting the appreciation, while getting the actual equity that's going to appreciate, and you've actually got a large portfolio, but you don't know what to do. Like, you've got the money there, but you don't have the expertise, you don't have the experience, you don't even know where to start. Book in a call with us, because then at least we can feed onto how we can help you. And we may not even be able to, but at least we can actually brainstorm what your options are and how we can help you in what way, shape or form, and what best suits your needs in the long run. Because everything, especially with property, is having a long-term mindset with it. If you're getting into property today and expect a result within 1-2 years, forget about it. If you're getting into property today and expecting a result within 5+ years, we can absolutely help you, because it gives you time to save if you need money, and it also gives you time, if you have money already, to aggressively build what you're trying to build. And that's where we can help, because we've got the solicitors, build teams, we've got sourcing agents, we've got agents we work with. We have a lot of property deals coming into us with what we do. We've got a whole team that can cover the full end-to-end, from literally sourcing a property, getting the renovation done, getting the refinance done, getting the letting side done, manage the whole process. So for context, over 85% of our clients are nowhere near South Wales. In fact, most are in London, so we've never even met them. They're lovely people, we never even met them yet. We've got Asia, America, Scotland, so it doesn't matter where in the world you are, we can help you. Location isn't a factor, a negative factor here. It's purely a case of, do you have the capital? Do you have a realistic long-term goal with this? Reach out, book in a call with us. The way to book in a call, look on the descriptions of the video. There's a link in the description to book in a call. Click the link, feeds to the website. On the website, you can book in a call with us. The call is just a brainstorm. It's figuring out where you are, where you're trying to get to, yada, yada, yada. The only way for us to be able to help you is for us to fully understand your position and go from there, guys. So take action if you want to get into this. If you want to reap the benefits of the cash flow, every property investment like this has an actual ROI, return investment, of over 20%. So if you want to get into property just like this, that have an over 20% return investment, definitely book in a call, because then we can say, okay, these properties have a 20% return investment. If you build a portfolio of them, that's a very healthy return investment over 10 times if you're building a portfolio of 10 properties, right? So book in a call, look forward to hearing from you. And also, if you don't know how to book in a call, if you can't figure that bit out, comment yes in the comments, and I'll reach out to you to book in a call that way, if it's easy. If you are, just leave a comment to say yes, put in brackets the words yes, I'll book in a call, and I'll send you a link to book in a call, sorry, and we go from there. Look forward to speaking to you all. This is in South Wales. We only operate in South Wales, guys, because the property is so cheap. Again, because the property was bought £55,000, the GDV is 110. You compare that to London, where the actual property prices are 500k plus. It's a completely different approach. So if you live in London, definitely reach out if you want to get into property, but you can't actually afford London prices, because it's an absolute no-brainer, and we've got a team for it. Looking forward to speaking to you.